Surprise! Hey, strangers.
Hey, strangers.
Welcome to this somewhat impromptu episode of The Strange Sessions. I'm Krista. With me is Kurt. We're between Season 8 and Season 9 and just thought we would jump on and give you some updates and a quick topic.
I was going to say, we're not necessarily together. I'm
Nope,
at home and
Skype.
Krista's at home and we're on Skype. Could you let us know if one of us is louder than the other one? Because for some reason I thought that Krista was louder than me, so I moved my microphone up, but then she said that I'm actually louder than her, so now I drop my microphone back down. So let us know at some point, realistically, if one of us moves, we might have to always do this over Skype.
Yeah.
So we should get this.
We should be prepared.
We should be prepared.
I know there's a way for both of us to be recording in Audacity and just combine the files, and we'll have to experiment with that, but
Yeah.
instead of Skype.
Yeah. No, I totally agree, but we'll figure something out if that ever happens. How are you?
I'm good.
I feel like it's
How are
been
you?
forever.
It has been forever. I took a lot of time off over the holidays, and it was much needed, like from work. I only worked 2 days out of the 2-week stretch of holidays, and coming back to work was hard.
Did you have a good Christmas and everything?
I did. Yeah, really good Christmas, really low-key. Jim and I just went up by my mom and my brother Christmas Day, and that was the only Christmas plans we had. We didn't do anything for New Year's. We did a lot of walking. We've really started a regular daily walking routine with Lucy, did some hiking. So that's
nice.
We've been enjoying that. Even in like 9-degree weather, we're out there.
Well, there was that one freakish day where it was like 50 something. I went for a walk in the cemetery because it was so nice out.
Mm-hmm.
But now it's not nice out anymore.
No.
It's back to cold. Speaking of Christmas, we got a really sweet Christmas card from Michaela.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
Michaela's so sweet.
I know. She wrote, "Merry Christmas. Here's some $sign to fuel the early morning Strange Session recordings. Love, Michaela." And she sent us a gift card for McDonald's and a gift card for Dunkin' Donuts.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
Oh, that's so nice.
Which one would you like?
Maybe Dunkin'.
Okay.
I'm not really a McDonald's person.
Okay. Oh, my God.
Cool.
How can you not be a McDonald's
thank
person?
you.
Yes, thank you, Michaela.
Their coffee is pretty good, actually.
Who's?
McDonald's coffee.
I love McDonald's coffee. I really, really do. But Dunkin's is good, too. I'm not as crazy about the food at Dunkin's for some reason. Like, their eggs...
I've never had it.
Their eggs taste weird to me, and I don't know what it is. But I go through there
I've had
sometimes.
a Dunkin' Donut in my day. I've never had any of their other food, though.
No? Like, they have, like, wraps, breakfast
breakfast
wraps.
sandwiches, right?
Yep.
Yeah?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. Like, breakfast wraps and stuff, and... one of my favorite things to get from there, which probably isn't real healthy. Oh, I should talk about visiting the doctor too, speaking of that, is their maple sugared bacon. It comes out in a container just like French fries, and it's just like 6 strips of bacon and maple sugar.
I mean, that sounds good.
Yeah, I mean, it's not good for you, but come on. It's bacon and maple, like 2 of my favorite things. But no, my Christmas was nice. Went by Aaron's family Christmas Eve and went by Corey's. I think the 25th or 26th. I don't remember, but went to Corey's and it was nice. It was really nice. Aaron and his family got me tons of awesome stuff. Corey and his family are paying for some of my new tires, which I need to get for the car.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Oh my God, yeah. So we got that, and but Christmas was nice. I did finally go to the doctor because I just never feel good, and they ran a.
Hey, real quick, before you start this, if you're new and you don't want to listen to us
talk about our medical
Kurt's
issues,
health problems, we are going to post in the show notes, like when we actually get to the short topic we're going to cover today, which, by the way, I don't even know what it is.
Nope.
But if you want to skip over this, there's no taste test. We're obviously not in the same room right now, so just check the show notes.
Yeah. But
okay, go on.
I went to the doctor and, they did just a quick check and they wanted to do a blood screen to see what's wrong with me. So then when I finally got it back, I went in and met the doctor and they're like, You're good. You're pretty good. My cholesterol was like a notch above of what it's supposed to be, which it was 10 years ago. And, everybody said the garbage that I eat, like ramen noodles for breakfast, everybody thought my sodium would be off the charts, but it wasn't. The only thing was that my vitamin D was really, really low. So that she said, get 5,000 international unit vitamin D capsules. So I've been taking that, but they said for the most part, it's not that bad. And she even said, she goes, your depression and anxiety, she goes, a big chunk of that is situational because right now you don't have a job, you have no money.
Yeah,
I
agree with that.
But she does want me to come in at some point to talk about like anxiety and stuff like that. But I really thought there'd be something in the blood screen that would show what was wrong with me. But nope, everything else looks okay.
I'm glad.
Yeah,
That's great.
I am too. My car, on the other hand, is not so good. We brought it to Corey's mechanic, who is awesome. Like, he was just like the nicest, coolest guy. And to kind of get a estimate of what's all wrong with it. And the guy basically grounded me from leaving town with my car. He said my tires are completely bald and are starting the steel belt is starting to come through the tires. He said my back brakes are not even working. It's supposed to close on the tire and it's not. And he said there's a bunch of stuff wrong, but he said the tires first and then the brakes. So he said, do not go on the highway with this car. Do not leave Manitowoc. So I am grounded from leaving Manitowoc. And now that I have my schedule for my new job, which is another new item to talk about, now that we got my schedule for the new job, we're going to bring it in at some point on one of my days off and just get the tires changed before we start the next season, hopefully. But yeah, and I got a new job. I know some of the listeners that I'm friends with on Facebook know this. I don't even think I posted it in the strangers. But starting Monday, I will be working as an RA at a nursing home here in Manitowoc. And
so exciting.
It's exciting, and I'm nervous, but it's everything so far I've seen looks cool. Like I can't do a factory job anymore. I need to do a job where I'm making a difference in somebody's day or like helping people or doing something with people. I can't go home after making this metal thing for a car that I have no idea what it is. I want to go home feeling like I've done something. So the chain of events that led to this job was actually really cool and very like synchronicity, but and it feels right. Like I'm 100% on board with this, and it feels right. So I start Monday. I'm going to have to work until 10 o'clock the Friday night before we get up and record the podcast. So that's going to be tiring, but
we could always start a little later too.
It'll work. We said that last time, and I still woke up at super early.
Up to you.
But yeah, so health seems okay. I'm having really bad issues with my teeth, but I got to wait till my insurance kicks in before I go to a dentist. But my health seems okay. My car is not okay, and the new job is exciting. So that's my update on life.
Relatively positive stuff going on, so that's awesome.
Yeah. I'm like I said, I'm nervous about starting the new job, but I went there the other night for fire safety training, and a girl came in and was talking to me, and she started like a week ago, and she said everybody on the shift that I'm on is going to be super nice, so it's going to be cool. I actually go in tomorrow to watch 4 hours of training videos, so I'm excited about that.
Nice. And a special thank you to our Ko-fi subscribers because they actually paid your rent for you.
Oh my God. They might have to pay it again I'm not sure when I'm going to get paid, so I might have to get more money out of our account.
Yeah, that's
because but hey, I'm making more than I expected. I'm making
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, that is pretty awesome. So it'll be nice actually grocery shopping again for like food, But what stuff do we have coming up? I know you want to talk about something with the podcast, and I want to bring something up too that I think might be fun.
Okay.
But you can bring yours up first.
Yeah, so if you're a YouTube listener, you probably noticed this is audio only, and you have probably seen a lot or at least a couple things posted like, hey, are you watching these videos or are you just listening to the video in the background? And I've asked the question on Facebook. And I know we've gone back and forth. Okay, I've gone back and forth about what we should do. And I think I've finally, I don't think, I've finally come to a decision that we just need to go back to doing audio only. I'm sure some people are going to be disappointed. I have no doubt we're going to lose subscribers on YouTube, but there are a couple of things I want to bring up. And I was thinking about this the other day while I was driving, because this has taken me a long time to come to this conclusion because I feel guilty about it. But I realized that in the Christmas episode, a listener asked, what advice would you give to somebody if they were just starting out podcasting, and you could give them any piece of advice? And without hesitation, I said, only do it because it's fun.
Yeah.
Don't do it to get listeners or to make money, because when those things don't happen, it won't be fun anymore. And the only reason we started doing video on YouTube was because we thought we would get way more subscribers and make more money or make any money at all. Yeah. That's literally why we started doing it. Even though I don't enjoy doing the video stuff or the editing or being responsible for any of it, because I have no idea what I'm doing, but I don't have any desire to know or to get better at it because I don't enjoy it. And so I need to follow my own advice. Why am I spending so much time and feeling stress over something that I don't enjoy just to make money that we're not making, by the way? We made $150 in the entire year last year on YouTube. Nobody in their right mind would tell me that that's worth it.
Yeah.
So I just decided, and Kurt supports it because, quite frankly, I had to talk you into going to video.
Yeah, because it's just that I don't watch video podcasts. Like, I tried watching Haunted Objects, and I kept falling asleep. And I talked to Corey and Aaron about this, and they both said the same thing. Aaron said he listens to them when he drives around. Corey listens to it when he's mowing the lawn or driving. And I'm the same way. The only time I really listen to podcasts is when I'm driving. So
yeah, I think there are definitely people who podcasts are an audio thing and it will never be a video thing. I love watching YouTube videos, but I also know we will never be on that level of the videos that I enjoy watching.
Yeah.
And it's like, why put something out there that's just kind of mediocre? I know some people really enjoy seeing us, and I would like to still post shorts, because
there could be episodes where for some reason we decide that we want to do it a video episode.
Maybe,
you know?
yeah.
Maybe when somebody's on that we haven't had on before, like stuff like that. Maybe we'll do
special episodes with video.
Yeah.
But our shorts get more views than any of our videos.
Yeah.
Have ever gotten. And I looked at our views over the last several seasons, and they have not gone up in any way, shape, or form since we started doing video.
Yeah.
They've pretty much stayed the same. Certain topics bring in more people, but I don't think it has anything to do with the fact that we have a video versus just audio. So like I said, I know some people are going to be disappointed, but almost everybody who says they watch the videos also said, but hey, if it's stressing you guys out or it's too much work, nobody's going to be mad. We're still going to listen. So I'm happy that we have those people who are loyal and just love our content rather than having to look at our faces.
Yes. Yeah.
So, yeah.
And like I said, I told you before we started recording, it was a hassle for me to get all dressed up so nice and stuff for the podcast, and to get my hair done and stop at the stylist, so. Yeah.
Which you say in jest, but we both also talked about before the podcast that we actually both feel pressure to look decent.
Yeah, I have to remember what I wore in the last couple episodes.
Yeah.
Where before it's like whatever I throw on because we're in your basement,
I also find myself throughout our episodes recording like, okay, don't make so many facial expressions, or don't look at your phone because people know you're looking at your phone, or be sure to look at the camera. And I just want to go back to just being able to relax and listen to what you're actually saying, rather than half paying attention to what I'm doing in front of the camera.
100% agree.
And I'm going to sit on the other side of the table so we can actually look at each other.
Okay. Instead of our weird situation we got now.
Side-by-side situation. Exactly.
I really think most listeners will be cool with that. But I do think we need to maybe make an effort to do a short every episode, just so that there's something they can watch.
Well, and we have
if they don't subscribe to my OnlyFans, they need some sort of video they can watch.
We'll do the shorts though. We'll keep doing shorts because those are fun and they
Yeah.
take a couple seconds to
Yeah.
tape or post.
Yep.
But we have 1,270 subscribers on YouTube, and our videos barely hit 200 views. So
Yeah.
I don't
No,
know.
that's
Most people aren't watching or listening through YouTube. Most of our listeners are on podcasting
Yes.
apps and have
Yep.
never seen a video.
Yeah.
So I'm not too. I shouldn't feel guilty about this.
No, you shouldn't. But I still would just because that's me. You know.
Yep, I do. I do still feel guilty.
I get it. I get it. But no, I'm 100% on board with that. I prefer not having the cameras on.
Yeah, and those lights. Oh my gosh, the lights.
Yeah.
Blinding us through the whole episode.
Yes. What I wanted to run past you and the listeners, of course, is I was thinking about this the other day when I was driving that I might a little bit, but I'm not really doing the big trivia contest this year that we always do.
Okay.
Yeah, I have to work that weekend, and my friend that actually did most of the work for it before we were talking, and we both said our heart just wasn't in it the last couple of years, and we don't know why.
Oh,
But,
yeah.
One thing that I would like to do, and I did this for the students, but for that contest, I would love to be a trivia question writer. So then that got me thinking that this season, what I'm thinking about doing is, instead of the song suggestion, doing a trivia question every episode.
Oh, I like that.
And
I love that.
Some will be very hard, some will be very easy, and listeners can email us the answers to the listeners that I'm friends with that have my phone number. You can text me your answer, you can Facebook message me your answer. Just get me your answer, and there'll be points based on how difficult it is. And at the end of the season, like maybe the 3 people that got the top scores will get something. Maybe a signed copy of a show notes. But I just did
merchandise.
Yes, and some are gonna be hard. They're not gonna be gimmies by any stretch. Here's one that I kind of just came up with off the top of my head for this episode. The question would be, this question comes because of stuff I had to buy for my new job. One of my biggest TV character crushes grew up in Greenwich, Connecticut on an orchard and was raised more by her housemaid Consuela than she was by her parents. She once said, quote, "Every male in my family is a doctor. My dad, my granddad, and my brother. I guess that's why my dad gave me a guy's name. Who is this TV character?" And then they would send in their answers.
Okay.
This one is pretty easy because there's a lot of stuff there they could use to look it up. But the answer is Dr. Elliot Reed from Scrubs.
Nice.
Where if you type that quote into Google, you would find it in a heartbeat. So that would be
sure.
5 points. And then I'll make some that are really hard, but I want to try to do ones that are fun because I love doing trivia questions. So that's what I'm thinking about doing instead of the song suggestions. But if there's still a song that I really fall in love with, or you really fall in love with, we'll suggest it.
And you could actually do trivia around that song.
Yes. Yeah. So that's kind of what I'm thinking.
That.
I like it too. I mean, we could come up with some kind of prize. We'll fly to their house and just hang out on their couch for a week with them and eat all their stuff in their fridge. We could do stuff like that.
Yeah.
But no, I figure there's got to be something that we can do for a decent prize. So I thought you're okay with that?
Yeah, I think it's great.
Okay. But yeah.
So, I was also thinking about just the equipment that we've purchased to do videos and not wanting that stuff to go to waste.
Mm-hmm.
I believe Premiere Pro, you can create logos. So that's the software I use to edit our videos. I would like to actually up our game in merchandise, and having a logo, or not even logo, but just images that you can use is a key part of that. And I don't really know how to do that stuff, but I think I can do it on Premiere Pro. So it would be, I could still use that. I could use the cameras to take pictures of the merchandise to post on our website. Yeah. So I don't want the equipment we purchased. Also, some of this stuff will hopefully be used in ghost hunting.
Yeah.
In the future.
If we ever do that.
Yeah. But yeah, I just wanted to throw that out there. So
cool. What else do we have that's new? Anything else for the podcast? Oh, when we plan on starting.
Oh yeah, that's a good one. March 1st is our first recording
Is that
day.
is that my weekend off of work?
Yep.
Okay.
Because you showed me what your schedule was, and March 1st, I need another solid almost 2 months before we start up again.
Okay, yeah, because I can't drive down by you right now, so I gotta wait until at least my tires are fixed. My front brakes are working, so that's enough. But the guy said you should not be driving. He said you should definitely not be driving on snow because there's no traction on my car whatsoever. So I need to wait until that's fixed anyway. So I think March 1st is and if for some reason, I'll double check, but if that's not the right weekend, we'll push it to the weekend after. But I think you're probably right.
Yeah, I know it seems like a really long time, but honestly, if we start before I'm ready to come back, I'm going to start the season feeling depleted, and that's not a good place to be. So.
No, and it's February short anyway. Plus, that'll give me time to get into the swing of the new job. So I think that's perfect. Worst comes to worst, we can do another one of these little fun Skype episodes.
Skype,
yeah.
Sure. We're starting a huge project at work too that's going to become my life now for the next year, and we'll be a few weeks hopefully into it by then, so at least I'll understand what that's going to look like too. So
hopefully everybody's good with that. The one that won the contest for the season premiere is the drone situation, so I've been trying to keep an eye on that. But if for some reason by the time we start that's a non-story or whatever, we'll just come up with something else. I haven't really worked on doing a single podcast topic, but I've been looking up stuff. So I'm getting stuff coming up for this season, like topics and stuff. But
they're good suggestions too.
They were all good suggestions, and I would actually like to get to a majority of what they suggested. Yeah, the drones thing is I think it's dying down a little. Honestly, I don't watch the news, so I have no idea if it's on the news. It's just,
but
it's depressing.
I don't think we're going to get a good solid answer, so I think it's still going to be a good idea for a topic.
Yeah, I think it'll be a good idea for a topic too, and if there's not really a lot there, I could throw in something else. We could do a famous UFO abduction story that we haven't done or something like that. So we'll come up with something. I'm not worried about that. I'm trying to think. Is there anything else? What do I have written down here? Doctor stuff, new job, Christmas, my car, trivia contest. That's what I got written in the housekeeping for today.
Yep, that's all I had.
No. Did you do anything fun for New Year's Eve?
No, we stayed home.
Yeah,
nothing.
I was in bed.
I was in bed by like 9.
I was in bed by 8.
Yeah, that's a rookie holiday.
Yeah.
Honestly, I've spent so many New Year's Eves out partying, coming home with the sunrise. I'm over it.
I did that stuff when I was...
It's just another day.
Yeah, when I was 19, 20, 21, I did that stuff, and I'm good now not doing that stuff, I guess. What else is there? Everybody I know seems to be sick right now, so I'm hoping to God I'm not getting sick before I start the new job. There's all sorts of weird stuff going around. I have friends that got hit by the flu really, really bad. I got a flu shot for work, so I'm hoping if I get it, it's not that bad. But
my mom, her siblings, and my cousin all came down with like either a bad cold or upper respiratory kind of flu thing the day after Christmas, and somehow Jim and I dodged that bullet. And one of my coworkers' whole family got sick the day after Christmas. So yeah, there's definitely stuff going around right now.
Yeah. I have so many friends that it's either stomach stuff or flu stuff. So, and I know working in a nursing home, I'm gonna.
Ooh.
Yeah, I know. It's gonna be fun.
Have you talked about what you're gonna do? You haven't even really told me what your job is.
I'm not 100% sure what I'm gonna be doing yet. A lot of it is like. Just being an assistant to the nurses. Like I might have to clean up patients that throw up and stuff like that. And not patients, but residents. I'm going to be taking them to the cafeteria, getting their lunches and stuff like that. It's just going to be assisting. I don't really know yet what it all entails, and I'm kind of excited to find out, but everybody that I have talked to so far has said, you realize you might be like cleaning up poop and vomit and stuff like that. And I'm like, whatever. I'm like, I'll do what I got to do,
I think it's going to be a much more rewarding job than maybe people would realize.
Oh, I think so too. I think it's going to be
because you're really going to be there helping these people live better lives.
I think it's going to be like the school job where I felt like I was a good influence on the kids and that they liked talking to me and looked forward to it. And I was helping them when they would have meltdowns and stuff. And I think that's going to be a lot like what this is, building the relationships and stuff. So I'm excited about it because this is what I want. I wanted something where I'm doing something that makes a difference to somebody, even if it's a little tiny difference in their day.
Yeah, and you might be like some of these people don't get visitors, and you might be that person that they see every day that they can have a conversation with.
Yep. Yeah.
It's so sad to say, but that's the reality of it, unfortunately.
It is. There's going to be holidays where somebody doesn't have any family members come and see them, and I can come and hang out with them, talk to them for a bit. So, yeah, I'm excited about it. I'll have more to talk about once we start the season, I'm sure. But no, the job came right when it had to. It feels right. A lot of synchronicities involved with getting it.
Yeah.
So I'm excited. Amazing. Yep, I'm excited. Anything else we need to talk about?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I'm coming up with topics already for this season. Have some good ones. Trying to think. I think that might be it for now. Should I jump into this little topic? It's very, very tiny.
Sure.
But I feel like this is a good tie-in where I was complaining about my car. So this is the story about James Dean's cursed car.
Oh,
yeah,
nice.
Like this came up on. I'm going to talk about it on here. It's a blog, somebody's blog called Limitless Possibilities, and I stumbled across this. And I've been looking at this almost the entire last week. Like, this guy does this blog, kind of like what we do, where he finds these really obscure, weird stories and then talks about them. And there's been some weird ones on there that I've actually bookmarked a ton of them because some of them I want to bring up. And he also loves what I love, which are the stories about visitations by creatures that are just really weird, like the aliens making the pancakes, for giving the guy the pancake, or that one thing that was like a clown or a robot or whatever. Like, he loves stories like that, and there's been so many cool ones. So I'm looking at that, but that's kind of where I saw this, and I didn't even really know that James Dean's car was supposedly cursed. So I looked into it and started taking notes, and I'm like, oh, this isn't really that long. So I was just going to use it for some mini episode story, but I figured we could do it now because I was complaining about my car. So this just fits in with it. So are you ready? This first part comes from a website called Haggerty.com from an article called The Haunting Story of James Dean's Car. There's going to be a little salty language here, and I can't really get around that, so I'm sorry. James Dean's... have you ever seen like a James Dean movie?
Not in its entirety, but I'm familiar with like the type of movies.
Yeah, like I watched Rebel Without a Cause one night, and it was really they had a double feature. I think it was that and The Wild Ones with Marlon Brando, and they were both really good. But James Dean was like a really good actor, actually. So James Dean's career as an actor and a racer was cut tragically short on September 30th, 1955, when his Porsche Spider, nicknamed Little Bastard, was involved in a deadly collision on the way to a race meeting. Dean was killed instantly, but that wasn't the end of the story for the car. A week before the fatal car crash, Dean met legendary British actor Sir Alec Guinness in Los Angeles. Do you know who Alec Guinness is?
No.
Obi-Wan Kenobi from the original Star Wars movies. Yes.
Okay.
Guinness had an ominous feeling upon seeing the Porsche and would later write in his diary, quote, "The sports car just looks sinister to me. Exhausted, hungry, feeling a little ill-tempered in spite of Dean's kindness, I heard myself saying in a voice I could hardly recognize as my own, quote, 'Please never get in it. If you get in that car, you will be found dead in it by this time next week.'"
Ew.
Dean laughed it off and set about preparing the car for races with his Porsche mechanic, Rolf, R-O-L-F, Rolf Wutrich. I think that's how you pronounce it. Enlisting stuntman Bill Hickman to help out, the original plan was to tow Little Bastard to the races, but Rolf felt it would be better for Dean to get used to the Spider and run the engine in. On that fateful Friday, Rolf sat next to Dean while Hickman followed with his truck and trailer. Police pulled over the convoy and issued a pair of speeding tickets just outside Bakersfield, but didn't slow them down one bit. Dean was barreling down Route 466 at an estimated 85 miles an hour when a young Cal Poly student named Donald Turnipseed, driving a Ford two-door, decided to make a sudden turn onto Route 41. The impact sent the Ford almost 40 feet down the road and ejected Ralph from the Porsche. Dean was pronounced dead on arrival at the nearby hospital at 6:20 p.m. Despite being declared a total loss by the insurance company, the car was sold. Dr. William Eskrich bought the Porsche from a salvage yard in Burbank and proceeded to strip it for parts. He installed the Porsche's engine into his Lotus 9 race car and then loaned the transmission and suspension parts to fellow doctor and racer Troy McHenry. Esrich crashed the Lotus at the 1956 Pomona sports car races, surviving, but McHenry wasn't as lucky. He hit a tree and was killed in the same race, so the curse of the little bastard gained strength. Shortly after the crash, publicity monger George Barris bought the Spider, promising to rebuild it. When the mangled frame was found to be beyond recovery, Barris instead chose to capitalize on the car's notoriety. The Porsche was loaned to the Los Angeles chapter of the National Safety Council, and from 1957 to 1959 it went on a gruesome tour of car shows, movie theaters, and bowling alleys. You know, you'd go to the bowling alley and there would be his wrecked car that you could look at and get your picture taken with.
Ugh,
you know, and it also
so morbid about
it
that.
is, but it also served as a warning not to speed.
Sure.
You know.
Yeah, that's true.
In March of 1959, while in storage in Fresno, the car mysteriously caught fire. It suffered remarkably little damage, 2 melted tires and some singed paint, and fortunately the fire did not spread to other vehicles in storage. Meanwhile, Barris had sold a pair of tires from the car, and both reportedly blew at the same time, causing the new owner to careen off the road. There are other stories of Little Bastard's post-accident life. The car is said to have fallen from its display while at a show in Sacramento, breaking the hip of a bystander. The Spider also reportedly fell and killed George Barkas, the driver who transported it to a road safety expo. Finally, the car is rumored to have completely disappeared from a sealed boxcar in 1960 while en route from Miami to Los Angeles. Despite $1 million reward for information being offered in 2005, Little Bastard's whereabouts remain unknown. With Barris himself now deceased and no sign of the car for 60 years, the end of the car's haunting story may never be revealed. So now this comes from the Limitless Possibilities blog that I mentioned before. It says, quote, "The second unsolved mystery is where the car is. Dean's car was shipped out in 1960 to go to an automobile show, and Barris, who had the car on display for about 4 years by then, was supposedly beginning to feel the sting of the times. Anyone who's familiar with the 1960s knows that it was a cultural revolution of sorts. The cars of yesteryear weren't the types of cars that kids liked at that time. It's possible that Barris wanted to reinvigorate his famous show by having it purposefully disappear. If this is the case, it did nothing in the long term, as I wasn't aware until the time of this writing that the car had even vanished. If I'm to be honest, I thought it was just disassembled or that someone bought it and just stored it away. The second theory about this is that some idiot just misplaced it and it's in a warehouse, having been completely forgotten about. As unlikely as this may seem, mistakes happen, and it's possible that someone just mistook one package for another. Let's face it, people can be the biggest idiots on the face of the earth, and to believe that someone wouldn't somehow misplace an item that had, and still technically has, cultural significance is being naive. Whether or not you think that Little Bastard is cursed is entirely subjective. Curses, demonic possession, and other spiritual phenomenon vary heavily from person to person. As such, to try and claim whether or not the curse is real or not is a bit on the mean-spirited side in my eyes. As for a more objective finalization, where the Little Bastard is today is anyone's guess. Maybe it's forever gone, maybe someone out there is the unlucky owner of a piece of it and the curse is just waiting to make its untimely return. My guess is that part of it was put on my car, because that's the only thing that makes sense. But with my car issues I'm having is that I got part of James Dean's Little Bastard on my car.
Yeah.
Maybe it has, and we just don't know about it because nobody knew that an automobile wreck was actually caused by it. What we do know is that James Dean's legacy lives on in spite of his incredibly untimely demise, as does Little Bastard's legacy, which remains one of the world's most famous haunted vehicles. So now I got two theories, of course. First theory, the car is cursed. I have nothing really to back it up other than the stuff that happened. But
Yeah.
do you believe items can be cursed?
I don't know about curses.
Like I was thinking about this doing this episode. Like I believe items can have
Attachments.
like I feel like some items can be lucky. I feel like items can have an effect like that. I do, but I don't know. I don't know if I really believe that items can be cursed. You know, it's like they talk about on the Haunted Objects podcast where people say that, you know, this item is like super haunted. I'm getting rid of it, giving it to you guys, and then they get it and nothing happens. And they said it has to do with the relationship between the person and the
Yes.
item. Like it won't do it for one person, but it will for the other. But I do believe that there's objects that are lucky. So if that's what I believe, then I guess I kind of have to believe that some objects can be cursed.
I don't know if I believe that objects are lucky. I do believe that people can place a lot of power, perceived
Yes.
power
Yeah.
on an object.
Yeah.
And if you think something is lucky, I think you're going
I'm
to
making the luck.
experience.
Yeah, or I'm making the luck, and
Yes.
the object isn't necessarily making the luck.
I think manifestation is a real thing. I think whatever you focus your mind on is what you can manifest in your life.
Yeah.
I think that's real.
Yeah.
And I think this is somehow that.
Yeah,
If
we
you
should-
think something is cursed, you are going to experience bad things when that thing is around because that's all you're thinking about and focusing on.
Yeah,
So
I
I don't
wonder
know.
if we
I
should
think
do an
things can
episode
have
about manifestation because I've
I think
been
that's a
messing
really
around.
interesting topic.
I've been messing around with it, and it does not work for me. It just doesn't.
Mm.
You know, I checked out this book from the library, and I read The Secret and all that stuff, and I can't. It doesn't work for me, and I don't know if that's because I'm constantly second guessing myself. But then I think
Yeah.
I talked about this on the podcast. I always remember that when I worked at the factory in town here many years ago, there was one day it was literally like 100 degrees outside. And inside the factory, it's always 10 degrees hotter. So it was like 110 in the factory. And I'm driving to work, and I have my air conditioner blasting. And I rolled down the window, and it was just so hot outside. And I don't know what happened. Like, I was dreading going to work. And I got really, really bad. And I'm like, the heck with this. And I rolled down my window, I shut off the air conditioner, and I went into work with just not caring. And for some reason, I was the only person in the factory that night that wasn't bothered by the heat.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of that is your attitude. I think a lot of that is like almost manifestation where you've just had it, you know, and you believe so much that you're going to be fine that it doesn't bother you. So that's something that I think we should look into.
Yeah, because I think there's a difference between manifestation and the whole woo-woo side of it, and then there's an actual science behind it. It's kind of like, not the same thing, but kind of like when you buy a red Jeep,
Yeah,
all of a sudden there are red Jeeps everywhere.
Yeah.
It's because it's what is in your mind and what you're focusing on. You tend to notice things. You know what I mean? It's very much about where you put your focus.
It is.
If you tell yourself every day you can't do something, you absolutely cannot and will not do it. If you tell yourself every day you can do something,
Yes.
you're way more likely to do it.
Yeah.
So I think it comes down to that. I would love to do an episode on it. I think that'd be really
I'll pencil that in for this season. But
Cool.
That's the first theory, is that the car and its parts are cursed, and I'm about that because I don't know. But then we get to the second theory, which is that the car is not cursed, and this comes from an article from the 2021 Motorsports Magazine website, which is probably the only time I'll ever take something from the Motorsport Magazine website for this podcast. But it's from an article called "What Really Happened to James Dean's Porsche." And part of this comes from a Classic Hollywood Central .com article from 2024 called "Myth: James Dean's Car Was Cursed." And this says, Most of these stories originate from a 1974 book called Cars of the Stars, written by none other than George Barris. As the owner of the body of James Dean Carr and the author of the book, he had significant financial interest in creating a mythical curse. Barris claimed that he bought the car from Dean's family. When it was being unloaded in his shop, he said it fell on a mechanic and broke both his legs. Barris subsequently sold the engine to Dr. Troy McHenry, who was killed when he hit a tree while racing a car supposedly fitted with the deadly motor. Barris said that another doctor using a transaxle salvaged from the Spider was paralyzed in a racing accident. After Barris reworked the car to display its safety demonstrations, he claimed it fell off a stand and broke someone's hip. A few weeks after that, while being transported, he said the car allegedly fell off the trailer and killed the truck driver. There were also tales about a thief who broke his arm while trying to steal the steering wheel, and another mechanic who broke a leg when the door fell off the car. The problem is that every other story is hearsay. When researching the other stories, it stands out that none of the other victims' names, like that of the truck driver who supposedly died when the car crushed him, are known. It's therefore impossible to say whether these stories are true or if they're just part of creating the myth surrounding the car. James Dean's biographer, Lee Raskin, even doubts that the car truly disappeared, or if it just simply lost its fan appeal and that Barris decided a disappearance would perpetuate the myth. Still, some stories can be corroborated. Dr. Esrich's injury and Dr. McHenry's death, while using parts of the car, are indeed true. The fire in the garage where the little bastard was stored is also true and verifiable. But Raskin is convinced that most of Barris's stories are fabrications and several are definitely false. Raskin says that the wrecked carcass of the car was bought not by Barris, but by local physician and club racer Esrich, who salvaged what he could and then trashed the chassis. Raskin believes that Esrich's son still owns the original engine. And this I had no idea about. The original transaxle, however, made its way through several hands before being bought 3 decades ago by Jack Stiles, the original part manager of Paul Russell's renowned restoration shop. Last year, Stiles sold the transaxle to Porsche collector Don Ahern, who put it up for auction. The listing generated a firestorm of over 1,000 comments and bidding that topped out at a disappointing, for them, $382,000. But the identity of the transaxle's buyer turned out to be an even bigger surprise. Any ideas?
No idea.
Winning bidder Zach Baggins describes himself as, quote, a pioneer in the paranormal field. He owns the Haunted Museum in Las Vegas, where one of his prize exhibits is Dr. Jack Kevorkian's so-called death van. The, quote, cursed transaxle ought to fit right in there. Raskin says, quote, it's going to a freak show. George Barris must be dancing in his grave.
The fact that he has that kind of money to spend on stuff like that just makes me want to barf.
But yeah, I had no idea.
I should have guessed that.
And then I get to the end of the article and I'm like, seriously, Zach rears his ugly head again. Like I had no idea that he has the transaxle from James Dean's car in his museum. You know, but it's like, I don't know. I feel like the Newkirk's museum and his museum are like opposite ends of the spectrum of
oh my gosh, yes,
of respect, and I don't know. I'm not gonna poop all over Zach Baggins. But when I saw,
hey, you know what? He's a very smart businessman.
Oh, he is.
Very smart businessman, and that's what it is.
He is.
I don't think there's much more to it other than he's a very smart businessman.
Yeah. But when I was looking at this story and I saw winning bidder Zach Baggins, I just about spit out my coffee because I had no idea that he was going to appear in this. So there you go. There's the story of Little Bastard. I think it's mostly stories. I think some stuff did happen, but I do think that George Barris guy was building up. You know, it's like when somebody wants to get rid of a painting, they put it on eBay and say it's haunted in order to drive up people wanting to buy it, you know, and I kind of think that's what this was. I don't think the car is cursed.
I also think there's something to be said about just general safety. Safety was a very different thing back in those days. You know, I don't think there were seatbelts in cars until when? safety was just looked at very differently, and people probably did things in a very unsafe way, and accidents were much more prone to happen, and I don't know.
And I think I talked about this on the podcast, and this is just an aside on this, but I talk about that I'm fascinated with the website Crazy Days and Nights, which is a blind gossip website where every day there's like 20 stories like this A-list actress was on drugs at the Golden Globes Award, blah, 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 and you have to kind of figure out who it was. But then I think last year or the year before, they had a story or a blind gossip thing that was something along the lines of, he said the guy that does the site said, I'm actually mad that I did not know about this. He said, this is one of the biggest secrets in showbiz history. And it said that recently in a small town in Canada, a 90-year-old man died in a way that he was believed to have died several decades ago. And people figured out they were talking about James Dean. And then people on this site like dug into all of these car accidents in Canada. And they found a 90-year-old guy that died in this little town in Canada in a car accident. And he kind of did look like James Dean. So the theory is that James Dean faked his death with help from a film producer that wasn't his producer, but he kind of wanted to help him because James Dean's movies were like more popular than his movies. So a bunch of people got together. They had a cadaver that they used for his body, and the theory is that he did fake his death because he hated show business, which he actually really did. Like, he did not like being as famous as he was. You know, so it's just I don't think it's really true, but I thought it was a really interesting story.
Yeah.
You know,
the James Dean stuff, like faking his death, came up when I was like searching the Elvis stuff too.
If there's anybody that I would think could have faked his own death, I do think James Dean. Like, he did not like.
He was not a celebrity. He didn't want to be a celebrity.
And he's probably the biggest person I can think of that I could see faking his own death. Did he? I don't know. I don't think so. You know,
that's
I think
like a whole nother episode.
Yeah, I think that's easier said than done, you know, but I just thought it was an interesting side note to this episode. But that's what I got.
I think it'd be easier to do back then than it would be now, though, without the internet.
Well, we had that guy from Wisconsin that tried.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, you can't do that with the internet.
No.
Just not possible.
Yeah, he came back and he got charged with stuff, didn't he?
Oh yeah, big time.
Yeah, because they spent $10,000s of dollars like looking for his body in the lake, and then he's off in Europe somewhere meeting some girl that he met online.
Oh gosh.
You know, but so I don't know. There you go. That's what I had. I was like, oh, I'm complaining about my car not working. We might as well talk about James Dean's car, his cursed car. So hopefully that was okay. Just a little nugget to get you guys over until the new season starts.
Yeah, I think it was a good little nugget.
Yeah. I love like little stories like this. Like, I might even do a whole episode where it's like 15 little stories that might take like 5 minutes to talk about, because there's some really interesting stuff, but there's just nothing there. You know, I would love us to do another ghost investigation and do like a episode like talking about it and what we got and what we did.
Or even like how we visited Whitewater. Pick another location like that nearby that it's actually a whole area, not just one.
I want to go to Maribel Caves because my entire life there's something about Maribel Caves that that area just makes me feel uneasy, and I don't know what it is. You know,
I've never been there.
No, we should go there, but there's just something. I feel like there's something off about that area, and I don't know if that's just me. I have friends that go because they have a really nice bike trail through there, but I just don't like that one. But I would love to do another investigation, but we'll figure something out.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all I got.
Cool.
Do we have anything else?
I don't think so.
No. And like I said, as long as you're cool with doing the trivia questions instead of the song suggestion, and have some kind of point system where people, who knows if anybody's even going to participate, but I like looking up.
I think they will.
I like looking up fun, obscure trivia questions.
Yeah, I think people will definitely participate.
Yep, they'll have like a week to answer it, and then I'll say the answer in the next episode. So I wonder if we should do that or just have them open all. Well, I'll figure that out. I haven't really thought this through. It just popped in my head one day.
We have some time.
We do have time. So, anything else you would like to say?
Nope. I'm just appreciating everyone's patience during our much needed break.
Yeah.
And
I love that people are subscribing to our coffee even when we're not doing anything.
Yeah, thank you. We haven't released a side session in a while, so
no.
Really, we should think about what our first side session is going to be too.
Yeah, I've come up with a couple ideas, but I can't remember what they are off the top of my head now. I've been jotting stuff down on my phone. On my notes app, I have possible topics. And again, if there's topics you guys want us to do, just let us know. I already got a nice list coming from the poll, the end of the season poll that I always do for the start of the new season. So just let us know. But I think that's it. I don't know if I'm gonna. It is snowing pretty decent here now, so I don't know if I'm gonna go to the store or not.
Yeah, it was snowing pretty good here too.
Huh. I might just stay home. What the heck? So that's, I think, it for this little mini episode. We just wanted to touch base with you guys and let you know some of the things we're thinking of, and that we miss you guys, and we're so thankful that you guys care about us. And hopefully you're okay not seeing us on video anymore, because I know I'm okay not seeing me on video anymore. But
and hey, even though I'm not very active on social media these days, our strangers group is still very active. So if you're missing the podcast, I know people don't like Facebook. I kind of hate Facebook, but I am on
if it wasn't for the podcast. Yep, if it wasn't for the podcast.
We have such a positive space on Facebook.
Yeah.
If you want to come interact with other strangers, occasionally with Kurt and myself, we do respond to most people's posts.
Yeah.
So,
yep.
If while we're on break, it's a good place to still kind of, interact with us.
Yeah. So thank you guys so much for still being there and for not giving up on us. But we will be back in March, hopefully bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, but we will see.
Yep.
So,
one can hope.
Are we going to do that? I'm going to say Strange and you're going to say Sessions?
Yep.
Okay.
But because there's a delay, I have to start saying Sessions before you're done saying Strange. I don't know if you noticed that.
No, but we'll give it a try. So we will be back for sure in March. Maybe we'll be back in February for a little episode like this. We'll see how things go. But from Krista and I in our respective houses, we wish you guys a really, really good 2025. And until next time, stay
strange.
Close enough. Bye, guys.
Yep, good enough.
Bye.
Bye.